There's something about the thrill of the unknown, the rush of stepping into forbidden places, the lure of danger wrapped in charm. But what happens when that thrill turns into terror? When the party you thought was your escape becomes a trap, and the dance you joined is one you may never leave? We will step into the eerie glow of the Devil's Dance, a story of rebellion, temptation, and the chilling realization that some invitations should never be accepted. Turn down the lights, listen closely, and be careful who you dance with, because some partners are not of this world. The wind howled outside, a mournful wail that sent shivers down my spine. I stood at the threshold of my family's home, a place overflowing with tradition and expectations, and reluctantly pushed open the door into the night. They would never understand. The party beckoned like a siren's call, and I was too hungry for freedom, too desperate for thrills to heed their warnings. My parents had always preached about staying away from trouble, especially from a certain kind of trouble that simmered beneath the surface of our town like an unwelcome secret. But tonight, I wore my rebellion like a second skin, a shimmering dress that caught the moonlight. I slipped into those shadows, clutching my phone in one hand and the invitation in the other, determined to break free, if only for a night. The party was held in an old mansion, a relic of a brush with greatness long forgotten. As I walked up the creaking steps under the flickering porch light, I felt an electric thrill rushing through me. The music spilled out into the streets like an intoxicating potion, weaving through the air, wrapping around my heart, urging me to enter. Once inside, the buzz of laughter and colorful lights enveloped me. The crowd danced wildly, swaying and twisting as if possessed by spirits I couldn't see. But there was something different about this party. An unseen weight hung in the air, a tension tinged with festivity that made my skin prickle. Friends filled the room, but they faded into a backdrop, while the center of my attention shifted to a man in a tailored black suit, leaning nonchalantly against the bar. He exuded a content aura, the kind that made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. His smirk was both inviting and dangerous, a challenge that dared anyone to approach. Somehow, even before I introduced myself, I knew he was trouble. "Enjoying yourself?" he asked, a low, rich voice that curled around me like smoke. "I haven't decided yet," I replied, managing a nonchalant shrug. But my heart raced as his eyes bore into mine, dark and mesmerizing. Something twisted within me. Was it fear or exhilaration? "Dance with me," he commanded, not a request, but a summon. I felt inexplicably drawn to him, like a moth to a flame. Everyone else faded away as he led me to the center of the room. I was entranced, caught in his web of charm, my body moving in sync with his. The music pulsed around us, and with each beat, I felt the weight of the world lift, expectations, rules, family guidelines, they all slipped away. As we danced, a peculiar sensation washed over me. The world blurred at the edges, and I was awash in the rhythm, losing myself in that moment. He moved with a grace that was both compelling and disconcerting. His touch was electrifying, sending ripples through my entire being. With every twirl, I felt lighter, more alive, more reckless. But the laughter of the party-goers morphed into something strange. I could hear whispers beneath the music, hushed tones weaving a warning. My heart sank as I began to realize the truth. The guy in the suit was everything my parents had warned me about, and worse. He was more than just a charming stranger, he was something unholy, something that should never have stepped into the realm of mortals. "Who are you?" I asked, breathless, pulling back slightly to look into his eyes. "Just a dancer, like you," he replied, but I could see the gleam beneath the facade. "I came to the party for the same reason you did, to free myself, even if just for the night." "From what?" I pressed, a creeping dread inching up my spine. His response was a smile that made my stomach knot, a mixture of mirth and menace. "From the burdens we carry. From family ties that bind us. From the mundane. Suddenly, the air thickened as I felt it shift around us. Shadows playing at the edges of the room seemed to coil closer, and I could see flickers of movement, faces shrouded in darkness, watching us. Panic surged within me, and I stumbled back, pulling myself away from him with all my strength. As soon as we separated, the atmosphere changed abruptly. The lights flickered, the music warped, and the laughter crumbled into snarls and howls. The room transformed into a twisted echo of itself, colors bleeding into darkness. The party was alive, but not as I had envisioned. It was a grotesque masquerade of the damned. For the first time, raw fear washed over me, and I turned to run, but a cold hand gripped my wrist, holding me in place. "Stay," he hissed, lips curling in a sinister smile. "Let me go." I screamed, struggling against his hold. But he only chuckled, the sound echoing like the toll of a death knell. "You can't resist the dance, girl." With a surge of adrenaline, I wrenched myself free and bolted toward the exit. The door stood ajar, a sliver of light guiding me back to reality. The shadows clawed at my heels, reaching for me as I dashed through the threshold, my heart pounding like a war drum. I burst into the night, gasping for air. The cool breeze bit at my flushed skin, reality crashing over me in waves. I could hear the distant echoes of the party fading away, the laughter now laced with sinister undertones. As I ran, I could feel an ominous presence looming behind me, an awareness that I had danced with something far more sinister than I ever anticipated. I glanced back once and saw him standing by the doorway, the devil himself, surrounded by shadows that danced eagerly at his feet. I learned then that some dances come with a price, one I wasn't willing to pay. I fled into the darkness of the night, leaving the essence of that cursed party behind, but knowing, deep down, that the shadows would always lurk nearby, waiting for the next chance to pull me back into their haunting waltz. Hey everyone! So, this story, The Devil's Dance, was intense, right? Phew. It really got me thinking about a few things, and I wanted to share some reflections with you all. This story, at its core, is about temptation. That pull towards the forbidden, the exciting, the things we know we probably shouldn't be doing. We've all felt it, haven't we? That little voice whispering in your ear, promising freedom, excitement, a break from the everyday, like a mysterious stranger at a party. What really hit me was how easily the protagonist got caught up in it. It started with a desire for freedom, a longing to break free from expectations. And honestly, that's a valid feeling. But the problem is, she wasn't really choosing freedom, she was running from something. And when you're running, you're not always paying attention to where you're going or who you're running with. The devil figure in this story, he's not just some horned monster. He was charming, charismatic, and made a person feel seen and understood, even if it's a twisted kind of understanding. And that can be incredibly seductive. It's easy to get swept away in the moment, to lose sight of your values, your boundaries, when someone seems to offer you everything you think you want. But here's the thing, true freedom isn't about escaping responsibility or embracing recklessness. It's about making conscious choices, knowing what you stand for, and being willing to face the consequences of your actions. The protagonist in our story learned that the hard way. She went seeking liberation and found herself dancing with something truly dangerous, something that threatened to consume her. The end of the story is important, and it doesn't necessarily end there. She got away, this time. But the ending emphasizes that, in some way, the experience changed her, not necessarily for the better. So, what's the takeaway? I think it's this: be careful what you wish for. Question the things that seem too good to be true. And most importantly, know yourself, know your boundaries, and don't let anyone, no matter how charming, lead you into a dance you can't handle. There will always be shadows lurking. The best thing you can do is make sure you know how to find the light, and always stay grounded in reality. Hey, horror fans! If you enjoyed our chilling tale and want to keep the spine-tingling stories coming, don't forget to hit that like button. Your support keeps the darkness alive. Share this video with your friends, let's spread the fear together. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, so you never miss a hair-raising moment. Join our community of thrill seekers and prepare for more eerie adventures. Thanks for watching, and remember, stay scared.